Hey there handheld gamers. So today's video I'm going to look at something a little bit different. I'm going to look at a free to play game. We're going to look at Genshin Impact. A few little quirks I've noticed. First one is before you install the game, go to display settings and change your resolution scaling. Change it to 175%. At 250%, the stock setting, it will be too large to fit on screen. Just the launcher, so you can't actually hit the download button. So change that to 175, you should be fine. Also, once you've downloaded the game, you can put it back to 250. And then in game, here we are here. I've already loaded the game up just to save time, because it takes a little while to actually start loading. What I will say is the game will default to full resolution, full stock resolution of 1600p. And it'll run at that, and it'll draw quite a lot of watts, so probably worth changing that. So as you'll see here, I've not got the turbo button on. And if I quickly just pull back the main menu here, I can show you my power plan that I'm using. So I've got a maximum battery power plan, and here we are in the game. So if I go to settings, first thing I have to do is plug a keyboard and mouse in to change it to controller support. The keyboard support on the pulling up the on-screen keyboard really doesn't work great on the OneXPlayer with Genshin Impact. In settings, what I did was I changed my controller setup to the built-in controls. I also swapped the A and the B buttons and the attack button. It's just the A and B button in two different places basically. The graphics settings, I have changed it down to 1280 by 800 because I found resolution wise it just looks the same. It's a slightly fuzzy edged game anyway, just with the kind of cartoony graphics. So 1280 by 800 is perfect at that. It will window if you Alt and Enter on your attached keyboard. That will full screen and it will remain full screen after that. Even though it says windowed, it's full screen windowed. You can change it between 60 FPS and 30 FPS. Now at 30 FPS, and so we're in a town area here, so it's quite busy. It's only pulling, as you can see, 11-12 watts. So that's actually pretty good, and that's rock solid at 30 FPS. If you want a little bit smoother, you can toggle on 60 FPS, and that will use a little bit more power. Now in the town areas, no turbo, what have you, it's pulling about 19 watts there, 19-20 watts there, so that's upper 50s. It's not quite managing 60, but if I head along here, I get into the kind of city walls, you'll see it'll go right back up to 59-60, no problem, and it'll hold that quite happily. So what do I think of this game? Well, as I've always said to my son, it just looks like a rip-off of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Although the more I play it, the more I think it actually looks a bit like Immortals Phoenix Rising, graphically. And a lot of the sound files kind of sound very similar. But it's a nice enough game, especially considering it's a free game. And I would suggest, just because it's free, it's probably worth a little pick up. It's about 35 gig download, and it will take a while to download, and it has to then verify itself afterwards, which takes a bit of time. But it's very similar to Legends of Zelda and Immortals Phoenix Rising type games. Kind of open-ish world. There's an underlying storyline, you jump around, you interact with other players, well, other NPCs. But it runs pretty well. Now, normally I try and get 60 FPS, but I have to say 30 FPS doesn't feel hugely different. And as you'll see, it still seems pretty responsive to me. And it does drop the power delivery, or power draw, by a good margin. There you go, see we're back down to 11 watts, which I think is pretty good. I could probably try and drop that further by tweaking a few settings in the Radeon software. Put that in power saving mode, but yeah, this is running pretty well, and I'm quite happy with the amount of power it's drawing. It's not too much. So is this a game I'd recommend on the OneXPlayer? Well, on the AMD version certainly it runs pretty well. I'm pretty pleased with this. Should you download it? Well, why not, eh? What's the worst that could happen? You use up a bit of space. Now I have this running on my NVMe drive, which I upgraded to a 2TB drive recently. Links in the description if anyone's interested in purchasing the same drive. And it works really well. You jump to your death. Oh, there you go. Oh, you do a little bit. Let's steal some potatoes. So, anyone's interested in playing this? Go for it. I think you'll find worse free-to-play games. And I think on that note, I may just head off since my cat has decided he wants all the attention. Until the next time, guys, thanks